I clutched the paper bag against my belly like it could block the cold wind sweeping through the streets. 8 months pregnant, every step felt heavier than the last. Inside that bag were tiny socks the color of cream, soft as a whisper. Just holding them gave me the smallest smile. The bell over the baby shop door jingled as I stepped out. A lullaby faded behind me, replaced by the sharp bite of autumn air. Sunlight hit my face as I turned toward the sidewalk, and for a second, I caught my reflection in the tinted glass of the soul food restaurant next door. My hair was pulled into a messy bun, my skin tired, my gray maternity dress hanging loose. My swollen belly led the way. Then the reflection shifted. 2 figures walked by, hand in hand. Him, my ex-husband, and her, the new wife. He froze when his eyes met mine through the glass, and for a heartbeat, the world went silent. But she, her smile curled into something sharp, deliberate. She had been waiting for this moment. The restaurant door swung open, releasing the rich smell of garlic butter and wine into the air. Please like, subscribe, and drop a comment. She stepped out first, blocking the doorway, her white dress swaying in the breeze. Her perfume was thick, too sweet, clawing at my throat. The kind of scent meant to announce ownership. She tilted her head, her smile still sharp. "Oh," she said, her voice sugar and vinegar. "So, the baby's almost here?" My grip tightened around the paper bag until the thin paper crackled. I said nothing. His gaze darted to my belly, lingered for a second too long, then slid away as though looking hurt him. But I recognized that flicker. Once upon a time, that look meant he cared. Her hand rose slowly, purposefully. The sunlight caught her diamond ring, sending sharp flashes into my eyes. "The restaurant just opened. We have a reservation at 1. Funny running into you like this." The words cut deeper than I expected. I remembered promises from years ago, his voice telling me we'd spend every Saturday together, that he'd never be too busy for me. Promises that dissolved into late nights at the office. I swallowed hard. "Enjoy your meal," I whispered. But she wasn't finished. Not by far. A waiter passed by with champagne flutes. She plucked one from the tray, still holding his arm tight like he was her prize. She sipped, then smirked at me, her eyes slicing deeper than the alcohol burned. That's when I saw it. As he adjusted his coat, a black envelope slipped halfway from his pocket. The sun glinted against the gold letters. Carter and Wells. Audit notice. My chest tightened. An audit? Why would he bring that into a restaurant on a date? Before I could think further, she leaned close, loud enough for me to hear. "Good luck with everything," she cooed, staring deliberately at my belly. My child kicked hard inside me, insistent, grounding me in that moment. I pressed my palm over my stomach, steadying myself. That's when I noticed him. A man at the bar, middle-aged, sharp charcoal suit, tied dotted with silver. He wasn't eating, only sipping espresso and watching. His eyes landed on my ex, calculating, cold, like he already knew too much. Then, calmly, he set his cup down and looked away. Something told me this wasn't just a run-in. She stepped closer, perfume overwhelming, and whispered with that sly edge only enemies carry. "Don't waste your time clinging to what's not yours." I lifted my chin, steady. I never asked for anything. For a split second, her mask slipped. Then she laughed, tapping her glittering ring. "You don't understand. With the right signature, marriages vanish. Just like yours." I bit down so hard on my lip I tasted iron. Pain rose, old and deep, but I refused to flinch. Real happiness doesn't come from stepping on someone else. Her laugh grew louder as she tugged him forward, holding him close like a trophy. "Come on, baby. Let's not keep our table waiting. Especially while she's standing out here in the cold with her baby." And in that moment, for the first time, I felt it. Not sadness. Not shame. But anger. Cold. Precise. Finally, his voice came, low and strained. "Enough." But he didn't meet my eyes. He didn't defend me. And she ignored him, pulling him closer as her smirk widened. "Tell me," she said, pausing just enough to savor the knife she was about to twist. Who's going to take responsibility for that child? Her words punched through my chest, leaving me gasping. But then, inside, my baby kicked hard again, sharp, defiant, like a reminder I wasn't standing here alone. I straightened my shoulders. My voice came out clear, steady, every syllable deliberate. My child will carry the name of the one who protects them, not the one who abandoned them. The restaurant hushed. Conversations dropped. Even the hostess at the podium froze. He stared at the ground like a schoolboy caught lying. She smirked again, triumphant. We'll see about that. Before sweeping back inside, she flung her words across the air, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. Good luck being a single mother. Not everyone wants a child without a father's name. The glass doors snapped shut behind them. I stared at my reflection in the window, tired, heavy, but unbroken. Not anymore. That black envelope haunted me. So did the cold stare of the man in the suit. They thought they'd crush me. They had no idea. That night, I couldn't stop shaking. The bag of baby clothes sat unopened on the couch while I lowered myself into the chair by the window. The city lights blurred together, glowing like tears smeared across glass. I hadn't seen him since the divorce papers, and yet his face today wouldn't leave my mind. The way his eyes froze on my belly, the guilt hidden just beneath his mask, it dragged me back into the years I gave away to him. I was 21 when I married him. Too young, too naive, convinced love was enough. He had that smile, charming, easy, the kind that promised to carry the world for me. And I believed it. I gave him everything. Double shifts, coupons cut, my own dreams buried. All so he could chase success. Every dinner, every promotion, every excuse to stay late, I swallowed without question. Because I thought it was for us. But somewhere, somehow, us turned into him. And me? I became the woman waiting alone in the dark, holding on to someone who had already walked away. One night remains etched in me forever. The rain beat the roof so hard the gutters overflowed. I sat on the edge of our bed, a bowl of chicken soup cooling untouched in my lap. Midnight passed. No sound of his key. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. A single message lit the screen. Don't wait up. Busy. That was the night I realized my marriage was already over. And then she appeared. Not with fireworks, not even loudly. She slid in like smoke. First, she was just a friend from work. Then she was the reason he wasn't home. The perfume on his shirts wasn't mine. The lipstick smeared on his collar wasn't mine. The laughter he saved for his phone, it wasn't mine either. She grew bold, looking me in the eye before the papers were even signed. She knew she had won. And me? Too pregnant, too drained, too tired to keep fighting. When I signed those papers, I told myself it was finished. That I would never have to see them again. But today proved how wrong I was. Her words echoed like thunder. Who's going to take responsibility for that child? I wanted to scream. He forfeited every right the day he walked away. But I swallowed it down, let her walk off believing she'd humiliated me. When she flashed that ring, when she dragged him inside, I finally understood. She didn't just want him. She wanted my ruin. And she thought she had it. But the truth was, the story wasn't over. The memory of Rain still lived in me, even in this small apartment months later. It wasn't much, one bedroom, one kitchen, walls whispering in the night, but it was mine. Unlike the old house, this silence belonged to me. Still, silence could cut deep. Especially with a body swollen from pregnancy, when even grocery runs felt like mountains, when the only hands holding me were my own. But I kept going. Paid bills. Cooked what I could. Folded the little onesies I had bought that morning. Because I refused to collapse. Surviving had become my rebellion. I still saw flashes of that last night in the old house. Rain pounding the windows, me curled on the couch, swollen ankles aching, staring at the door I knew wouldn't open. I knew where he was, wrapped in someone else's arms, someone else's perfume staining his skin. And still I waited. Because that's what wives do when they still believe. But believing cost me everything. I touched my belly now, my baby rolling beneath my hand. "It's just you and me," I whispered. The words were meant to soothe, but they burned in my throat. Today, when she pulled him inside that restaurant, I saw his hesitation. His hand clutched hers, but his eyes, they stayed on me. Or maybe not on me at all, but on the life inside me. Was it guilt? Fear? Regret? I'll never know. But whatever he felt, it doesn't matter. He doesn't get to claim this child. Not after leaving. Not after replacing me so quickly. I leaned back in my chair, exhausted, the memory of her smirk replaying again and again. And for the first time I wondered, maybe the secret isn't mine to carry anymore. The next afternoon I decided to walk. My doctor said light exercise would help with the swelling, and honestly, I needed air. The sky was gray, heavy, the kind of color that makes the city look tired. I moved slowly, one hand at my belly, the other clinging to railings as I climbed the steps. I didn't expect to see them again so soon. But fate is cruel like that. There they were, outside the same restaurant, laughing with another couple like nothing in the world could touch them. She was flawless, her dress hugging every line of her body. He stood beside her, hand pressed gently against her back, playing the role of doting husband. I could have kept walking. I should have. But my steps slowed and she noticed. Her laughter cut short. Her eyes lit with cruel delight. She excused herself and walked toward me, heels snapping against the pavement like gunfire. "Well, well," she said, gaze dropping to my stomach. 8 months, and still walking around alone. Her tone was honey poured over poison. I pressed my palm against my belly and answered quietly, "Yes." Her smile sharpened like broken glass. "Tell me," she said, voice loud enough to make sure the others could hear. "Who's going to take responsibility for that child?" The words pierced straight through me. My chest locked, my breath caught. For a second, I looked at him. He had followed behind her, but stood at a distance now, silent, hands jammed in his pockets. His jaw was tight. His eyes wouldn't meet mine. That silence, his silence, cut deeper than anything she could have said. I forced myself to smile, though it trembled. "Don't worry," I said, steady. "I don't need responsibility from a man who can't even speak up." Her smirk faltered, just for a second. Then she leaned closer, whispering so only I could hear. "You're pathetic. Still pretending to be strong." Something inside me snapped. My voice rose, not loud, but firm, heavy with truth. "I'm not pretending. I'm surviving. And that's more than you'll ever understand." Her eyes widened, unprepared for my resistance. Before she could answer, another voice cut through the tension. "Is everything all right here?" I turned. A man stood a few feet away, coffee cup in hand. For a second, I couldn't place him. Then it clicked, an old colleague, Daniel. His eyes flicked between me, my swollen belly, and the couple hovering behind me. He read the tension instantly. "Yes," I said quickly, forcing calm. "Everything's fine." But Daniel didn't look convinced. He stepped closer, positioning himself just slightly in front of me, like a shield. He had always been like that back in the accounting office years ago, quiet, steady, the one who helped when no one else noticed. Behind him, she scoffed, arms crossed. How touching. Old friends reunited. Her sarcasm slid right off him. He didn't even acknowledge her. Instead, his voice softened as he looked at me. "You look strong," he said deliberately. Strong. The word nearly undid me. No one had called me that in months. "Thank you," I murmured, lowering my gaze. Her laughter rang out sharp, mocking. "Coffee with her? Don't waste your time." But Daniel's eyes never left mine. "Sometimes," he said slowly, "the ones underestimated most are the ones who surprise you." Her smirk faltered. I caught it, and I felt something new. Hope. 2 days later, Daniel and I met at a quiet cafe tucked between a bookstore and a laundromat. Not fancy, but private. The kind of place no one cared to eavesdrop. I arrived early, lowering myself into a corner booth. My back ached, my ankles swollen, but I sat tall. Daniel walked in on time, a folder tucked under his arm. He looked older than I remembered, more lines on his face, but steady.
Solid.
The kind of presence that made you feel less alone. We ordered coffee. Mine went untouched. My stomach twisted, not from the baby this time, but from anticipation. Finally, he slid a few pages across the table. "What's this?" I asked, staring at numbers, signatures, transfers. "Evidence," he said flatly. "Your ex is funneling money through her family's company. Shell accounts, fake invoices."
Fraud.
"Embezzlement." My throat tightened. "Are you sure?" "Positive. I stumbled across it consulting for a related project. The trail is clear." My hand shook as I turned the pages. Betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was criminal. Daniel's voice dropped lower. "And there's more. She's not loyal to him either. I've seen the records. Trips. Withdrawals. Meetings. She's been seeing someone else." I froze, breath caught. Two snakes coiled, waiting to strike. For a long moment, I couldn't breathe. Betrayal stacked on betrayal, him using her as a shield, her cheating on him behind closed doors. They deserved each other. But my child didn't deserve to be born into their lies. "They're tangled in their own mess," I whispered, my hand instinctively covering my belly. "But my baby deserves better." Daniel studied me carefully, his gaze steady. "Whatever you choose to do, you're not powerless anymore." For the first time in months, I believed it. That night, I stood in front of my mirror longer than usual. My reflection stared back, tired, swollen, hair tied in a messy bun. But behind the exhaustion, there was something else now.
Strength.
For too long, I'd carried shame like it was stitched into my skin. Shame for being abandoned, for being left to raise a child alone, for every silence he gave me, for every cruel word she threw at me. But looking at myself now, I realized something. They weren't powerful. They weren't untouchable. They were just people, selfish, greedy, drowning in lies. And I had something they didn't. Truth. The next morning, everything felt different. My body hadn't changed, but my posture had. My presence had. I walked straighter. I looked people in the eye. I met the stares of strangers without flinching. Later that week, I passed that restaurant again. She happened to be standing there, laughing with her friends. Our eyes locked. Her smirk flickered, waiting for me to lower my head and keep walking. I didn't. I stopped, stood tall, and simply looked back at her. I didn't need words. The silence was louder than anything I could have shouted. Her smile faltered, just for a second. And that was enough. That evening, I laid Daniel's documents out across my kitchen table. Every number, every signature, every account burned into my mind.
Fraud.
Betrayal.
Lies.
I no longer saw them as wounds. I saw them as weapons. For the first time since my marriage collapsed, I felt something rising inside me. Control. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was preparing. And when the right moment came, I wouldn't just stand. I'd strike. The opportunity arrived faster than I expected. A week later, a glossy envelope slipped mistakenly into my mailbox. White with gold trim. An invitation. A charity gala. Downtown. Hosted by her family's company. At first, I thought about throwing it away. Why walk into a room full of whispers, into a crowd that had watched my humiliation unfold? But then I remembered the black envelope in his pocket. Daniel's folder of evidence. The calculating man in the suit at the restaurant. This wasn't chance. It was timing. On the night of the gala, I wore a simple black dress. Not expensive, but dignified. I brushed my hair until it shone. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't see shame anymore. I saw defiance. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers and laughter. Guests in tuxedos and sequin gowns sipped champagne and praised the city's newest power couple. I walked in slowly, deliberately. Conversations faltered. Eyes widened. Whispers followed me. And there they were, center stage, smiling like royalty. His suit flawless, her gown sparkling, diamond ring flashing under every light. When they noticed me, both of their faces changed. And I didn't hesitate. I walked straight to the podium, where speeches were being given. My heart thundered, but my voice was steady. "Excuse me," I said, microphone in hand. "I won't take much of your time, but I think it's time the truth came out." Gasps rippled through the room. She rushed forward, whispering fiercely, "What are you doing?" I turned to the crowd. "You see perfection here, but perfection has cracks. And tonight, I'm here to show you some." I pulled the folder from my bag, laying out documents for all to see. Bank transfers. Shell accounts.
Fraud.
"He's been funneling money through this company," I announced, hiding behind her family's name. Every eye turned. Whispers rose into chaos. From the back, the man in the charcoal suit stepped forward. "She's telling the truth," he confirmed, his voice cold. "These documents match our investigation." Panic spread like wildfire. Cameras flashed. Phones buzzed. My ex stumbled toward me, voice breaking. "Please stop. You'll destroy everything." I met his eyes for the first time in months. "You destroyed everything when you betrayed us." And his silence, his shame, spoke louder than words ever could. The fallout was swift. By morning, headlines screamed, "Power couple under fire for fraud." Their pictures, pale, stunned, drowning in reporters, splashed across every page. Her family's company accounts froze. Investors pulled out. Clients fled. Their glittering empire rotted overnight. Inside their mansion, cracks split wide open. He blamed her for dragging attention. She blamed him for ruining her family. Shouting matches replaced their smug laughter. Then the rumors leaked, her late-night meetings, her secret lover. The press devoured it. The perfect wife exposed. And him? He was painted as the greedy husband who gambled everything and lost. I should have felt vengeance alone. But standing in my small apartment, hand on my belly, I realized something. I didn't hate them anymore. Hate had consumed me for months. But now I felt free. When he called, voice desperate, I let him plead. "Please, I never meant for it to go this far. Don't let them take everything." "You already took everything," I said softly. "I'm just giving it back." Then I hung up. Weeks later, I held my daughter in my arms for the first time. Tiny fingers curled around mine, strong, certain. And in that golden morning light, I knew. We weren't broken. We were beginning. Please like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more stories.